Welcome to the Top 200 Podcast with your host, Herschel Freud.
What's up, everybody? This is Herschel Freud, High School Top 200, and this is the Monday morning meeting. We've got quite a lot to get to. I just want to apologize for my little bit of absence on my website. Thursday night, got sick as, and I've only just, I'm still not that good right now. But man, had the mad fever. Had some mad fever over this weekend. Pretty much from Thursday night all the way to Sunday. So it feels pretty bad. I'm alright. Probably just need to harden up, to be honest. But got through that. I really wanted to go because I had a couple of games. Like I wanted to go to that. I wanted to go to Timaru versus Cambridge. That was on Friday at 6 o'clock. I wanted to go to that game, but then I was also thinking about going to that Thames Valley, that all-day rugby thing that they had, where they had, what was it, the Plate Cup, what are they called? They had a cup final, plate final, and another one, and this is the Thames Valley. You guys might not know about it, but I've kind of been following it because I've been interested in teams like Pyro and Mercury Bay. Was the other one Whangamata Aerial School? I think it was. The Hodaki was another one that they had there. But that was the other one that I wanted to go to on the Saturday because I was kind of deciding whether I wanted to go to Mags, Auckland Grammar, or go down to the Moaska Cup game against Rotorua and Napier Boys, but I pretty much couldn't do anything on Saturday and curled up like a baby on the couch with the shivers. Got me the shivers. Yeah, so I couldn't make it out to any game. It's actually like the first Saturday I haven't made it out to a game in 8 years, and so I'm pretty disappointed at my streak. But yeah, I guess some of us just have to harden up sometimes and pretty much bite through it and I don't know, give some kind of sacrifice, I guess. Everyone has to sacrifice everything. So I failed my first test and pretty much have to harden up. But we're going to get through some of these games because there was obviously a bunch of things that I wanted to talk about, like obviously Hamilton Boys losing. And not just losing, I want to talk a bit more about that sort of scenario too, and kind of what happened. But also them losing, Kelston and St. Peter's staying pretty consistent, to be honest, and playing really good rugby. I want to talk about the quad that happened down in Christchurch. Also, I wanted to talk about Timaru Boys, and also the blood match is probably the other one I want to talk about. But as always, we're going to go through more games and stuff. But I kind of want to open this out with, I'm sure like if you guys have all followed the page, my Facebook page, and you saw the guy, the ref crying on the sideline. Obviously, he was hurt. Obviously, it was a hard thing to take, and it really broke my heart in terms of what was said to him to make him break down in a public place, still in his uniform, not even in the changing sheds, man. Like, what the hell did you fellas say to this dude? Like, what was it? Was it like, was the game that life and death that you really had to break this dude down? I don't get it, man. I don't get how some of you fellas go to these games and yell at the ref. Yell at the ref that's giving him and hers time to make games happen, and all you want to do is yell at them and tell them they're useless and tell them that they're blind and tell them that they're this and that. I was like, bro, are you for real? Like, I kind of want, and it almost happened at St. John's and Rathkill. And some of you fellas on the sideline that was with me, you guys know what happened. It was funny. It was kind of comical because it had nothing to do with the game at all. But if that ref had just walked off and he says, I'll stuff this, you guys going to talk to my dad like that? F this. I actually hope some of you refs go F you guys, all of yous. If you want to know why I don't want to ref, blame that guy there. That one person right there. Some ref do it. Some ref do it. And just walk and stay true to your word. Blow the whistle and go over to this guy and make sure everybody hears you, and you say one more thing to me, I'm walking out, and all of you guys here are witnessing that I'm pointing at this one guy or this one lady or this one kid. If you say one more thing, I'm going home. All three of us are going home. And the weird thing is that, like, nobody wants that to happen. Even the idiot, like, cussing words and stuff like that, he doesn't want that to happen. But, bro, you're pushing this guy to do that. You're pushing this ref to do that. You're pushing her to do that. And this is the thing, right? Is that we go, I think it's a weird mindset. We go to cheer on our kids. And we go to cheer on our team. As fans. So why does the ref even come into that equation? How about you just keep cheering on your kids? Don't even worry about the other team. And this is not just like a ref thing either. This is not just a yelling at the ref thing. This is a yelling at the kids thing. Now, the NBA has had problems with this, and they're right. Like, you don't get to say stuff like that to these players. You don't get to just throw and chuck things at players all you want. It's like, who the hell do you think you are? Just like you parents on the side don't get to trash talk kids on the field. No, kids. I'm talking about kids because I go to First 15 games. I'm talking about kids. You don't get to talk about kids that are on the field. That's not part of the game. That's not part of the training that they get at school. Like, guys, today we want to cover, we're going to work on our rucks, we're going to work on our spacing, even our shape, and then we're going to work on our comebacks to the people on the sideline. No, that's not part of it. So it's not part of the game. Any of you fellas out there that say, oh, this is part of the game, bro, shut the F up. It's not part of the game. Leave the kids alone. I've been on so many sidelines where I've had to bite my tongue to some parents that are standing sort of next to me. They don't really know who I am. And I've had to bite my tongue to not get into this argument. Because if I get into this argument, like, we probably will fight, especially if they're guys. I will fight on the sideline for kids that I admire that are on the field. It's like, bro, you can't say rip his head off. Like, you can't call him this name. He's a boy, man. His dad's on the other side. His brother's down here. His grandfather came to watch him play. And you're spurting that about their son, their relative. How about you just cheer for your son? I don't get these things. There's been times when I've been recording, and because obviously I've recorded games sometimes, and then some clown next to me says something that comes onto my recording. Now, I have to delete it. Because if I put it out there, it's going to look bad on the school when that has nothing to do with the school. And there's been a few times where I've had to stop and say, bro, you can't say that kind of stuff, man. And they go, oh. Or I go, I'm recording. And they go, oh, sorry, bro. It's just like, no, I didn't care about the recording. I care about what you're saying, though. And they're all right. Obviously, I'm 6'5", 200 something kgs, and I don't care, and I'm not really scared of anyone. But I don't want to go and have a fight in front of kids that they know that I'm there to watch them and see me fighting on the side with somebody else because I'm standing up for them for what some idiot is saying on the sideline at a high school kids game. We shouldn't be trying to defend kids. We're there to watch the game. Just watch the game. Cheer for your side. Don't worry about what they're doing. Don't worry about what the ref's doing. They're doing their best. The ref calls what they see. They call what they see. Yes, they're going to make mistakes. Yes, they're going to miss calls. Yes, they may be in intense moments where they do stumble, but that's the point of it. We got human refs watching the game and human live time. They're going to make human mistakes. But you're not willing to jump in there and do the same thing, right? All you fellas that have these big mouths about saying, oh, you ref, you're this, and this. Oh, just grab the touchy flag the next time they're looking for someone to be the touchy. Try be the touchy and see what happens. Because I guarantee someone's going to go, give them a bit more. That's not where the ball went out. Oh, his foot was on the line. It's like telling you to put your flag up. And I've even told parents, I've even told kids when the kids are the touchy and then the kid didn't put his flag up because he didn't see the leg go out or anything like that. And then the guy goes, hey, put it up. And I go, no. Bro, just play what you see, man. Don't worry about this guy. Play what you see. And then them just kind of look at me and be like, oh. I said, yeah, play what you see. Don't worry about these fellas. Just do what you think was right. The other thing with that is, and this is where we as parents, and I know this is kind of weird that I have to say this, but we have to govern our own sidelines and our own fans. If what's-his-name's dad is being a dick on the sidelines, you as a parent on the same team with him go, hey, bro, don't say that. You can't say that. Don't go that far. You can't say that. Or like, lady, you can't talk about them like that. We've actually got to tell our own. We have to do this. People are saying we've got to have security there. It's like, why? We're not kids. We're not supposed to be immature. We're not supposed to like still be figuring out what bad language is and what, what kind of situation are we in. The situation is that we're watching high school kids, our kids, play a rugby game. Something that they love and that they find fun and that we're there to support them. If you're making trouble on the sideline, you're not supporting. You're being a dick. You're making it hard because the dude's on the side going, oh, Dad. Or the other boys go, bro, it's your dad again. I say, isn't that your dad again getting in trouble? Bro, your mum's loud as, bro. Can she say something different? You're not actually supporting them. You're not making it better for your son or your daughter. My daughter, my 6-year-old daughter who plays basketball, I just cheer all the good things. Brush off all the little things. I have to coach basketball this next coming term for my daughter's little team because no one else wanted to do it. No one really wants to volunteer for that kind of stuff. So I'm the coach. All I'm going to teach them is this is all the fundamentals. Let's go out there and have fun. I don't care about winning because it takes one bag of lollies to go, hey, everyone's happy now. We're just there to participate, run around. If we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. Okay, fine. They just want to know who's player of the game. They just want to know if their grandparents turned up. Did you see my big shot? Yeah, it didn't go in, but it was great. It was awesome. My daughter just wants to know if she can play Roblox when she's finished. Did I play good enough today? I say, yeah, man. Good as defense. You didn't even let her shoot. Good as defense. That's all it is. I don't know what we're trying to expect from these kids. I mean, pretty much, you couldn't do it when you were at school either. The reason why I admire all these kids that I go and watch is because they're way better than what I used to be when I was at school. Way better than what I used to be at school. But I'm not going to criticize them and I'm not going to put them down like I was any better than them. It's like, no, not at all. I've even said myself there, I was just like, well, if I did a top 200, I probably wouldn't even put myself in there. So what gives us, as parents, the rights to be on the sideline, to be there as supporters, but we then switch and then we become pretty much we're pretty much demeanors in the sense. We just demean everything that everyone does on the field. From the touchies to the refs to the other players to the coaches and it's like everyone's standing on this high pedestal of like, you guys don't know what you're doing. It's like, cut it out, man. And we got to make this better for our refs. We've got to make this better for everybody that's on the field. We don't need security at these games. We're old enough not to fight. We're old enough not to do it. My nephew, who goes to Timaru High School, plays under 15s, went to Forest View, played the under 15s, and I think they were smashing them. And the sideline started to try and have a fight out of under 15s game against the Timaru side. And I'm not blaming it on Forest View. I'm blaming it on both of them, both of these sidelines. It's not about you fellas. Leave it to the boys on the field to sort it out themselves. They're all under 15s. What are you going to do? Go out there and beat our little kid up? I went to one of their Fraser High School ones against Timaru, and two fellas from Timaru were over there trying to fight other guys from Fraser. Now, I was all good. I was just sitting back and be like, yeah, look at that. And then my dad went over to try and stop him, and I was like, oh. I checked in. I was like, oh, one of you fellas knocked down my dad. Now, I'm fighting all of you guys. But none of that should even happen. Shouldn't even happen. We're just there to watch the boys. We should just be there watching the boys. We should be there just watching the game. Let the refs do what they do. Let the touchies do what they do. And let the players be on the same field together and let them battle it out however they want to do it. Let them trash talk. It's not up to us. Adults, like, putting down kids with lines, like, yeah, maybe funny, but it's not good. Like a 30-year-old telling a 17-year-old, like, person on the field, it's like, bro, chill out, bro. You're 30-something. Just leave the 17-year-old alone. It's not cool. Let the kids trash talk. Let them take care of it. We're just there to clap and celebrate and say, hey, you're the man, son. Leave the other boys alone. Now, I hate talking about this. And this is weird because I talk about, like, serious stuff on, like, the All Blacks last week, too. I don't want to start everything serious. Not at all. That's not really what it's about. But let's just be better. Everyone, please be better. So let's talk about Hamilton Boys, right? So Hamilton Boys, I went to the game and it really was Hamilton Boys' game to win. I didn't expect them to lose. I didn't expect Tauranga Boys to get smashed either, because I knew that they had some good games against New Plymouth and they tied against Napier, and I knew that they beat Palmy just the week before that. And so to me, I was just looking at, okay, this is going to be pretty close. Now, it was close. Now, I'm not taking away from the win because injuries are part of the game. But even before the injuries happened, you could already see a switch in that forward pack, because before Taylor Cahill went down with a concussion up, he'd probably be out for like 3 weeks or so. Something like that, with a head knock. I haven't really checked with the coaches or anything like that, but I'm just taking a guess. I may be wrong. But before he even went down, Hamilton Boys were struggling with that forward pack. they were doing so much. They were doing so much better. They really were. It felt like Tauranga were too physical. It felt like Tauranga were a lot more confident, especially in that forward pack, and kind of the hunger side of it as well. I would say lean towards what Tauranga were trying to do, because to me, obviously I've been talking about Toby Taylor since the beginning of this year, and how good he was and how good he is, and he's just only getting better. Every single game he just gets better and better and better. So Toby, Aotearoa, Sealing, the hooker, had massive games up front. Ruben Palmer and Grady Forbes, the locks, to me outplayed them. Even at line-out time, Grady Forbes because Grady Forbes is not that tall at all. He actually looks like an open side more than he looks like a lock. But he was getting up there and getting in their face and stealing the ball, and and this is even before Taylor got injured. They were already kind of taking over. Even Sloan Lancashire, the open side, and the number 8 Hammond, Whangavalu, his name is. All of them were just so. They were all just so active, and it was like they were all gunning for a purpose. And Hamilton just couldn't hold them off. They were winning because they were up by 12 points. But the way that it started to turn was that Tauranga were kind of taking over. And then in the second half, beginning of the second half, or was it the ending of the first? I think it was the ending of the first. Taylor got injured, and then the beginning of the second, Taha got injured, and then from there on there was nothing else. It was just consistent wave and wave of attack. Even defense was solid. I thought Tauranga should have been called for a lot more offside. There should have been a lot of more offside calls on Tauranga. Because they were testing that timing, and they just weren't catching it. So, and they had touch judges there too, and they weren't calling it either. But I thought that they got away with a couple, but not enough to sort of change the game or anything like that. But then even on offense, I thought their patience was solid. Their patience was solid in running that ball, and they kept everything safe. And on the Hamilton side of it, there were 2 tries that they should have got that they messed up easily. There were 2 tries that they should have got. Now, my thing is that, your 2 best players get injured, and Taylor and Taha, but there's still the rest of you. My thing is that I wanted someone else to stand up. And in my mind, I was kind of thinking that, wondering, okay, so with those fellas out, who's going to be the guys that stand up now? Who are going to be the next guys that go, okay, those fellas are gone, now let's do it this way? And it kind of didn't happen because Matt Stewart still ran the same lines. He's such a big runner. Him and Case Meyer, I thought were really good. Braden Drew did a lot of kicking, to be honest. But I kind of like the way that him and Reef Newdick play. And so I wasn't really disappointed. I just found it kind of interesting. But that midfield was solid, as well as that 10 and 15 I thought was pretty good too. But I kind of feel like Hamilton Boys failed themselves in a way that they weren't able to finish off those 2 tries, and the fact that nobody really stood up knowing that Taha was gone. And in all honesty, I would have looked at Peyton. I thought Peyton and Aki should have really picked up where they left off and go, okay, yeah, like, you fellas, give me the ball kind of attitude. Give me the ball kind of attitude is kind of what I was looking for. And I mean, if that wasn't their core to make, I understand. And so I'm just making these comments from like what my side is that's like, if Taha's on the field, we'll just send everything through Taha and we'll listen to him because he's one of the best players in the country, obviously, and then we'll go like, oh, cool, yep, we'll follow him. But once he's gone, I don't care that Peyton and Akia are both year 12s. I was like, no, I would just want them to speak up and go, okay, yeah, this is what we want. And whatever the coaches told them, that's fine. I'm just this is just my assessment of it kind of thing, right? And I was kind of waiting for those 2 to kind of step up and go, well, give me this game now and let's do it. And Aki was one of the breaks, and to me, it wasn't his mistake. It wasn't his mistake on one of those tries. But yeah, it just didn't work out that way. And the way that Tauranga Boys played, they deserve that win. They deserve that win 100%. I felt like too much people were happy that Hamilton Boys lost too. And it was fun. It was funny just to see how many people, and not even from like people this year, like people from when I first started Top 200. You know, some Super Rugby players that jump on it too. It was like pretty funny to watch. As it's like, well, is this more a celebration that Tauranga won after 11 years, or is this a celebration that, yes, someone beat Hamilton Boys? Which is 2 different things, but all in the same pretty funny. Now, the cool test is that Kelston Boys and Tauranga Boys play as well. Now, if Tauranga can pull this one off, that would be solid. It would be really, really big time if they pull it off. I've never had a team beat the number 1 and number 2 teams in the country. One is a non-ranked top 25, and the other one is a ranked top 25. I've never had one team even just beat a 1 and 2 in the same year at all. If Tauranga can do this, and here's the thing, and this is more of a thing to Kelston Boys, is that bring your best team. Bring your best team. Bring your best team and bring your best game. Don't take this lightly at all. Like, I know Zion and Tony Tuffa didn't play on Saturday. Who else didn't play? Somebody else that I'm missing didn't play either. But I guess if you want a perfect season kind of thing, because I'm kind of looking at Kelston as having that perfect season this year. This could be one of those teams they could slip it to is Tauranga Boys. Now, Tauranga Boys, I don't think have they haven't been blown out all year either. I mean, they had some wins. Let me see. They had some wins in the preseason. See, they only lost. See, they lost to Sacred Heart. Preseason, they won some games, which obviously don't count in terms of ranking, but from Sacred Heart, they lost to Sacred Heart by 3. They lost to Westlake Boys by 6. They lost to Rotorua Boys by 1. And then they lost to New Plymouth Boys by 8. Now, like those are kind of like the early games as well. Then they drew with Napier Boys and drew with Napier Boys and then lost to and drew with Napier Boys and then beat Palmy. And so like all these kind of games together, and like with those first 4 losses and a draw, that kept them in the 30. and this is how the ranking kind of works, is that I kept them in the 30 only because they were losing by one try off. I actually thought that they want to win that Westlake game. I thought that they were kind of going to win that Rotorua game as well, which it came down to that kick, but that probably should have been their one too. But that's why I kept them in the 30, close to the top 25, because I knew that, well, they're there somewhere in there. Even though they're losing to these teams, they're losing to a Sacred Heart, a Westlake Boys, a Rotorua Boys, and a New Plymouth. So all of those, and then they drew with Napier Boys, and so those 4 out of the 5 were ranked, and then the Westlake team was sitting around 20. We're sitting around 26 to 28 in terms of the ranking. And then Tauranga Boys was just sitting up there in the 30s. And they never bounced out of the 30s at all. They stayed in the close 30 to 32 or something like that, depending on who else was around. But I kept them in touch so that they weren't so far away from being ranked in the top 25. But then again, I knew that at some point they were going to get a win. I knew that at some point there was going to be a time where they would be able to prove themselves properly, right? They'll be able to prove that they belonged. And playing in a big competition like that, it's hard to prove it by the record of wins and losses when you play in a competition that everybody is pretty much ranked. But because they were only losing by one try off, I knew that it was going to come. I didn't think that it was going to come by Hamilton Boys. I really didn't. I didn't think that they were going to get it from there. But I mean, like, stuff like that happens. You have to just play every game and not have that fall off. And so it happened. It just happened to fall on Hamilton Boys, and they got the dub and they got the boot back, and that's 11 years. They got to start again. And it's funny too, because people think that, oh, this is 11 years of not winning. I was like, yeah, but that's not 11 games, because sometimes they play 2 and 3 times a game. So you're really looking at something like 22 games, sometimes 28 games, depending how many times they played Hamilton Boys. Sometimes, most of the times they played them twice a year. One for the Chiefs Cup, and then one would be for for the Super 8, or sometimes they would, like Chiefs Cup, they would have like a pre-season sort of kind of game, and then the Chiefs Cup, then the Super 8, or then like the final of the Super 8, things like that. That's always kind of happens. So we're not talking 11 games, not at all. We're talking about 20-something games that they beat them in a long streak. And in all honesty, that is one of the big ones that I think Hamilton was keeping, was that record kind of thing. But at least it's not Hamilton all the way on that, that trophy that they got. But yeah, let's go back. Let's talk about, because some of the other interesting games, right? Before we get to the quad, we'll get to the quad. So this I don't know if a lot of you guys noticed, but the placing of the quad pretty much finished the way that I already have them ranked, with Nelson at 11, Christ at 16, Whanganui Collegiate at 21, and then Wellington at 22. Those are my rankings, and that's how they fell in terms of where they came in that quad. So I must be doing something right, huh? So, but Christ, I think, let one of those slip. I actually didn't like Nelson's game in that final. I actually think that they could have played better. But that had to do something with them, as well as Christ really, really taking it to them and really put that pressure on them too. But as a whole, I think Nelson played a really good game, really good style. They had trouble. They had trouble with old Waka from Wanganui Collegiate, who broke that line 4 times and they had to fix it up. And I remember watching it and I was thinking, flip, those guys better do something about that, because if that midfield becomes a problem, like I knew that Christ would be watching and be like, well, yeah, let's run it through there. You know, and for the most part, Nelson was winning most of those possessions and they were taking care of it all right. And the fact that I thought that Sean did great at first 5, and even as and he's because he's naturally a second 5, but he just went into first 5. I thought he played great for first 5, and he just really got them out of a lot of stuff within that in that first game, and even Christ in the first game against Wellington College was also. They were at a point where I was thinking, man, Wellington should really win this. And Wellington probably should have won that first game. Christ were lucky to get out of that one, to be honest. Wellington really, really did mongrel up a lot. They mongreled up heaps. They really did. And I was like really proud of their 4-pack for the way that they played in that game and the way they muscled up in that first game against Christ's. And here's the thing with that quad, right, is that as much as Wellington came last and a quad with 4 ranked teams is like, yeah, that's, who cares? That's fine. I actually think Wellington's the one that benefits out of this, to be honest, in terms of their season. Because in their season, they're never going to have 2 hard games like that in the Wellington comp at all, in a row. Wellington's going to benefit from this so much that they were able to have 2 really good, solid games against ranked opponents to take them into their own competition and hold that feeling and that high level of game that they've been playing for those past 2 games against Christ and Whanganui. If they hold on to that level and still play at that high level, they can win that comp. They're the best ones to come out of this, to be honest. They really are, because the other teams really do play in competitions that hold a higher standard. Yeah, CNI holds a higher standard than what Wellington does. It sounds weird now. A lot of you older traditionalist guys that are listening and that follow this, it's like your days of Wellington comp is not the same as what it is today. You really only have 4 teams, maybe 5 sometimes, but you always know that those 4 teams are pretty much going to make it to the end. Or you know that 3 are, and then one's going to be like, oh, I don't know about them. And in the past few years, Wellington has kind of been that team. And this is the first time I've ever seen Wellington, and I said this to one of the parents when we got to Napier, and I watched them in that first game. I said, flip, you guys have got something here, like there's something different about it. And it's actually kind of coming true that there is something different about them, and I think that from this quad, because they almost won both of those games, and I think that those teams are better than the ones that they actually played, maybe bar Scots. And so to me, it's just like, I, as a Wellington College player, would be leaving it being like, well, we know how those guys play in their competitions now. That's their standard that they play at. We've got to hold that feeling and hold that high intensity, and then take it into our next games and not let it drop, because we know we're playing someone that's not as, someone that we don't have to, really get up for and every Saturday. They need to sort of just keep that same energy, really, and carry it through, making sure that they're able to lift it every time they get to a game that they need to lift it in. And to be honest, I wouldn't drop it, to be honest. You want to play Scots at that level. You're going to play Hibs at that same level. You want to play Porirua at that same level. Play Mana College at that same level that you just played Christ's. Don't back off just because the Mana College is like, oh, we don't know, play that hard. It's like, yeah, throw 60 points on them. Do it. Why not? Mana College would if they were in that position. Puriru College would if they were in that position. Hell, Bishop Viard, if they were in that position, they'll put 60 points on you if you want. Why not do that? Because I think that they have a team like that to do that. To score that high of... And just keep it at that same intensity the whole time. And I guarantee, man, these guys are they're really going to bring one back to Wellington College, which is pretty much something that would be pretty cool to see. Especially for how long I've been following this for. And I remember my older brothers, they played Wellington College. 98, I think it was. I think it was 98 in a preseason game. And Church College travelled down to there. If any of you alum from Wellington College, if you guys were in that game, just let me know if that's right. I think it was 98. And I was only 4th form, which is like year 10 or something like that. And I made the first 15 the year after. In 99, I think it was. But I remember them going down and Church College only lost by 5 points, I think it was. Something like that. But I knew you guys were a big deal then. I remember that. But yeah, so it was, something around that. Other ones from the week. Timaru, actually. Timaru is one of the teams I want to talk about. Them being able to play John McGlashan on the Tuesday and then play St. Thomas on the Saturday, winning both of those games. Man, that's two hard-ass games like that. I give it up to them. I give it up to them that much for, them being able to front up for both of those games. Because that is not an easy one. Like, John McGlashan is not an easy team to beat. Like, think about it, right? We all saw it on TV where they beat Southland Boys. They may have lost to the other ones, but they beat Southland Boys, so we know that it's there. And then you got St. Thomas, who is coming second within the competition, who's only lost one game. They've only lost 2 now with them just losing on Saturday, but at the same time, St. Thomas have a team of year 12s that are ready to blow up, and they're doing it already in the first year. And then for you to play on the Tuesday, then to back it up on the Saturday, man, that is pretty impressive to play 2 really good teams like that, and get the win from both of them. I'm trying to find the Timaru versus St. Thomas game as well, so if anyone's got that or live streamed it or something, send it through so I can watch it, because I'm really interested in that game. Big shout out to Timaru College beating Cambridge College, because that was for I think it was the Waipa Cup, which is a pretty big one as well. In all honesty, I had Cambridge winning that, but shout out to Timaru for that one. Also the co-ed one, Fielding beating Manukura as well, 44-0, which is I heard it started off a bit dicey. I want to watch that game as well and see how it kind of went, because I was told that by half time it was like really close, like 12-0 or something like that, or 5-0, something like that anyway. And then Fielding really picked it up in the second half, so I kind of want to see how that all developed and how that all went. Like going down the list of Hastings winning 14-7 over New Plymouth. Hastings boys, still on that unbeaten run right now since that preseason. They've done so good, still playing really good rugby. And then they play Tauranga's their next game, so let's see if Tauranga can do that to them as well. Imagine that if they did that to Kelston. Let me see when this Kelston game is. Hold on. I want to see when they play this Kelston game, because if they can play Hamilton Boys, Kelston, and then Hastings in a row as their 3 games, that's pretty impressive, even just to play that, just to play that streak of games that's pretty cool. Let me see. 10th. We're past the 10th. I'm just looking at my schedule. I've got a schedule here. Where is it? No. Oh, so they play Hastings on the 31st. Oh, where's my Kelston game? Oh, I must have missed it. Actually, I got to find out when that Kelston game is, because I really want to go to that one. I'm sure it was in the holidays. I thought I saw it in the holidays sometime. But if they can make that run, that would be pretty mean. You know, to make that run. Oh, the 24th. Yeah, the 24th. So, and that's the same day that Palmy and Kings play. Oh, damn. That's another good game. St. Paul's Collegiate and Whanganui play on that same day, on the 24th. There's no 1A games, obviously, on that day. No Super 8 games. Then on that Sunday, on the 25th, Napier and Fielding play. I think I might drive down to that one. I'll go to church down there. Don't worry about that. I don't try and miss churches. Nelson and Timaru play on that Tuesday. Is that still right? Hit me up and let me know if that's still right. But that's still in... Yeah, those are some big games still in the holidays. That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. But let's get back to it. Congratulations to Rokura for holding that Moeska Cup. I'm going to do a video about that Moeska Cup, because I think there should be some changes in that Moeska Cup. I think a lot more people should... I mean, I've written about it before, but a lot more people should be able to play for it, because people, it is so rare that people do not care. Wasn't trying to rhyme, but that's kind of how it is that it's almost like a myth that is forgotten, that you don't even, you know, and then it's kind of like you have to reintroduce it, and you have to retell the story of, you know, the French, like, propeller or whatever it is, that, you know, all that kind of stuff, and they brought it back from World War. You just have to retell the stories. It's like, well, it shouldn't really be like that. It should always be in the mindset, so that year 11s can hear about it and go, oh shoot, we need to have a go at that. We need to try and get that. Because, like, people think about it just like, oh, it's put up too much. It's like, not for that kid. Not for that player. Because that player's only here for 1 year, and then he's finished. And it's like, oh, and that player's only there for 2 years, and he's finished. But next year we don't play them, so we might not get a shot at playing them again. Like, we're not looking at the school itself. We're still looking at these players, and we need the players to tell the story of how they won this Moeska Cup. We need that to be passed down to different players to go, oh, this is what it was like when we were there. This is what it was like when we played for that cup. This was what it was like when we were gearing up for this, and this is how gutted I felt and how effed the world I felt when we lost, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. The stories need to be there, so we need more people to play it and need more people to have opportunities to play it, kind of thing. I'll make it my own video of that, just alone, just so that it keeps to its own sort of devices and stuff like that. So I'll make up, you know, I'll do a video about that myself and what I think it should be. Kings winning against Liston. Liston shouldn't be in the 1A. I'm not trying to have a go at you fellas, but they shouldn't be there. Should be a couple other teams that are in the 1B, but it's not fair to those boys, not at all. St. Bede's winning again. Mags having a good go at Auckland Grammar, which I heard was a real tight game. Scots College was a good game to watch. I watched that one. That was so good. That was such a mean game. Otago winning again over South Otago High School. Kings losing to Southland Boys is such a strange... That matchup between those four schools is strange, man. Like, and it's strange and good at the same time, because you never know who's going to win. You never know who's going to show up on the day. And at the same time, it's good. It's good for that competition to even struggle at the top. And so it was a good win by Southland. I give it up to those guys. And if there's a live stream of that somewhere that you guys had that I just didn't know about it, can someone send it to me? Because I really want to watch that game. Manurewa got back to winning against Rosmini, which was great. Massey beating Orewa, which honestly I didn't think that was going to happen. I actually thought that Orewa was going to win. Whangarei Boys winning against Takapuna Grammar. Westlake looking like they're getting back to Westlake again with their 54 win over Rangitoto. They're picking up a good win against Dilworth. I thought that's a pretty solid win. What were the other ones that I liked? That Howick Ongehanga one was a good one, 22-14. Ongehanga's a solid team. I'm going to come out and watch you guys soon, really soon. Botany Downs beating Southern Cross, kind of a surprise, kind of. St. Paul's just losing by 1 point to Otahu. Avondale were having a pretty good go at Maclean's College, 22-8, but Maclean's winning that one. Waitakere winning that. Pukekohe's just killing it in their competition. They need to get out and play some other teams, man. Like I said, I want Pukekohe to play someone like Matamata College. Howard High School is another one I think they'll be good at. I think they will be good playing someone like St. John's Hastings will be another one I'd like to see them against. I think they would have a good go at Lindisfarne as well. Maybe a little bit too strong. Rathkill will be a pretty good game to play against them. I don't know if Gisborne Boys is going too far. But I think they'll give them a go. Francis Douglas will be another good one too. I think that would be a pretty good game to play. And Fielding, I think Fielding might be pushing it. Fielding might be a little bit too strong. Oh, maybe not. Might be a pretty good game, but they need to get some other games. They're going to be playing Manurewa and Saturday, I think. Oh, yeah, that's the game I'm going to. Actually, I'm going to that game against Manurewa. I'm going to that game. Francis Douglas getting their first win on Saturday against Rathkill. St. John's really pushing Lindisfarne, which was pretty surprising. I don't know what happened with you guys over there. But, shout out to Pyro College. Beating Mercury Bay in that finals. They had to go extra time and finished off 18-15. But Pyro College is doing pretty good at that level. And that Thames Valley is doing pretty good too, because they still got guys like Thames High School and also Te Aroha. Hauraki Plains as well as the other one, and Whangamata Area Schools was the other one. And it's a good little competition for themselves. And then they got this other one where it's like, it's called like Future First 15 competition also as well, that, it's pretty good just to try and introduce it. And then they got under 15s, which is like their youth bracket as well, and they've got sort of the same kind of teams competing. And it's just setting a standard, I guess, and it's actually working. I think it's really good what they're doing over there in Thames Valley with their high schools over there. Here's some of the shocks. Western Heights beating Karikari was a shock. I actually thought Karikari was going to win, but they won 36-33. Taupo losing to Te Taumata 29-12 was a big shock. I thought Taupo was going to win that game. Actually, the game finished 29-12. To me, that score should have been reversed, and that's what I thought the score was going to be. Taupo has got some solid quality players, and I don't know, a bit up and down, really, I guess. A bit up and down. But that was one of the games that I really liked. What were the other ones? St. Bernard's putting on 61 points on Putiroa. That's pretty solid. St. Pat's Town 50 points. 50-10 over Rongotai, which is big. That's big. You know, I don't know how it just takes St. Pat's Town, you know, like, I don't know if they're hot and cold. I don't know. I think it must be more of their competition rather than just them. Maybe it's just the way that their competition is built. It just doesn't feel like they're a hot and cold team. It must be just the way that that competition is going. St. Andrews, Stack, putting up 97 points on Mid-Canterbury combined. That's huge. It seems like they're getting back to what they're supposed to be after a couple of injuries. And to be fair, Stack has had some pretty big injuries. And so, trying to get around that and trying to get the team to stay together and be confident and to be positive and then to hold off until some of the players come back from injuries is a hard thing to do, but it feels like with that 97 points that they're back to what it is, what they're supposed to be. Shirley Good win as well. 33-7 over Aoraki combined. A good win for Timaru Boys is another one, 34-18. And Christchurch Boys 33-3 over Selwyn Lincoln combined schools. Oh, did I stuff that name up? I don't know how you guys are supposed to say it. But John McGlashan, like I just said, they just played Timaru and then they backed it up with beating Mount Aspiring 53-12, which is pretty big. Dunstan High School winning 39-12. Dunstan really needed that. They really needed that. And Otago Combined got their first win, 13-7 over Otago Boys, second 15. So congratulations to you fellas on that good win. The blood match was pretty good. It was actually really exciting to watch. And, Waitaki Boys winning that blood match against St. Kevin's. And it's one that they have every single year. And it's what they do. And winning 21-19 was a good finish. Like, it was a good finish to the game and sort of what you expected as well. And so it's pretty cool that it ended that way in such an exciting game. And, I mean, I talked about it before. It's like... Oamaru is getting there's getting a lot of brown faces down there. There's a lot of Tongans in that team now. Back in days it wasn't really like that. I remember talking about this before because I spoke to someone down there and I was going, hey, what's going on down there? They go, hey, man, for some reason heaps of Aucklanders are moving down here, heaps of Islanders moving down here for work, and we're getting a lot of brown people down here. Like, those churches are getting pretty packed out. I was like, really? They go, yeah, man. They said, Waitaki Boys is going to be a pretty bit of a force after all these guys are all brought up, and then they start to be born and raised down there, and it's that culture of Samoan and Tongan, and then put it together with that farm boy kind of thing, and just having that kind of ingrained culture into them is just like, ooh, I don't know, man, you guys are breeding some different players, and you got those kind of combinations going together, but this match is going to be big time, and it's pretty cool. Like, I live streamed it and I posted it on my website on the Facebook page too. So go and have a watch of it. Honestly, it was really good, real intense the whole way through. And I know some of you guys are just like, we don't really watch that kind of great rugby. It's like it's pretty solid. It's solid stuff. So go and have a look at that. Go watch it and see what you think. Next week, this week's going to be pretty full on. I'm going to find some games to go to. Send me some of your games, because if I don't know that you guys are playing in the holidays, then I probably won't come to your games. But just keep me in touch so I can sort out if I can make it down to you guys' games as well. Just let me know the times and stuff like that, and then I'll try and make it to your guys' games. I think I've got a Saturday already booked because I have Manurewa. Riwa and Puki are going to be playing. And that's for the co-ed. Oh, that's for the co-ed as well. To go down to the co-ed. And in all honesty, I don't know. Like, Puki could be winning this one. Riwa's going to be is going to have to bring their best team, and sort of not treat Puki as like a lesser team, because they're running over some guys out there. But yeah, keep me informed, let me know, and see if I can get to them in any games that have been live streamed that I missed. And if the way that you know if I've missed it is if I haven't posted it on my Facebook. Because every school and game that I know that is live streamed, I'll post it on my Facebook so that everybody else around the country can watch as well, and that everyone can get seen, kind of thing. So if I haven't posted it or shared it on my Facebook, send it to me and tag me in it or let me know, and then I will just share it along onto my Facebook so everyone can get seen and everyone can see what everyone else kind of looks like. Right? This is High School Top 200. Herschel, peace.